DJ business, that we methodically do that, and that recruiting is like a huge,
The example he used in there, which again is pretty impressive, is he was talking about the CEO of Fannie Mae. And I guess that's why there's only 11 companies that made it the grade on this, because he said the dude, when he took over, instead of just throwing people in, and again, this was already a company that was good, instead of just throwing people in there, I mean, they were losing like millions of dollars a day.
A day.
And he sat there and waited to find the right people before they jumped ahead. Now, he already kind of, I mean, he had a system in place of what he was going for, so obviously it doesn't apply directly to a startup company. But that takes a lot of balls for someone to be losing that much money and still waiting for the right person.
Well, point 4, Rick, I'm going to have you read that real quick.
The old adage, people are your most important asset, is wrong. People are not our most important asset, the right people are.
What does that mean to you, Rick?
That people, if you're not the right person, you're a liability.
Right.
Warm bodies won't do.
Just clarifying, liability or an asset, people are not, no one is neutral. I think that's the big thing that we have to look at as people. If you break it into like a deeper thing, as a Christian, you are either influencing, you're either helping the cause, or we are taking away from the cause. What's that, a DC Talk CD? And on the Be in the Light, there's a quote, and he says the biggest problem with Christianity today is people that profess Christ but then ignore him with their lifestyle. That's like a huge humbling thing for me that in the last year, especially with my kids, I've been like, oh man, I am horrible. I've tried to make a methodical effort to stop doing things that would be inconsistent with that. But when I had read, there was a business book I was reading, and it just jumped out to me about Christ, but I'm thinking like, if my kids see me do this, and they emulate that, is that a good thing? Do you know what I'm saying? And I've had to make a constant effort to change that thing, and to be a positive. But you look in the business framework, if you take it back to business, and you look for a second, are you a net positive to your organization, or are you a negative? And I think one of the things we have to do sometimes is be humble enough to say, you know what, I'm a net negative in production right now, but I bet you I'd kill it in sales. Or I'm a negative in sales, but I bet you I'd kill it in production right now. And just knowing yourself enough to be willing to call yourself out and to be able to fit that. You know what I'm saying? Without copping out, I'm saying. You know what I mean? But really be able to understand
After
yourself.
you put in your full effort, if you suck, I mean, if you're sucking it up on one side or the other, I mean, you can't just like put in a crap effort and be like, hey, I'm doing crap.
Apparently not good at this.
Yeah, apparently I'm not very good
I better
at
try
this.
the CEO position.
Or,
And I guess this book is assuming, I agree with what you're saying, the book's assuming that you're going hard,
yeah.
your full effort's there,
But I think that initially is the first big problem, is the want to. I mean, one of the books that I was reading, I'm reading right now, the guy's talking, I mean, it's obviously the Christian stuff, but he's like, if you want to quit doing certain things, that's great, and you're trying to. But if you just want to, that's not really enough, or even like you would like to actually want to quit it. And so, I mean, I think the biggest deal with like a lot of our DJs is they don't try very hard, or a lot of the guys that like we've had in here, they try about as hard as they need to.
Well, I've seen some of you guys, on a positive side, I've seen some of you guys at bridal shows just go leaps and bounds above anybody else at that bridal show. There's 50 other booths, and I've seen some of you guys just kill it. And I've seen these deals where I'm just like, I'm so fired up, I'm so charged up, I'm like, man, that guy is awesome. Numerous times where I've seen Keith, like, we had a couple years ago when we had some, issues going on, and I think Keith had, like, towed a DJ's van back, and then he'd also done this and helped set up for a show and all that, just over and above. But I think it's a situation where it fits. It's kind of like Keith maybe felt like he was part of a heist, and it was a fun thing for him, and it was like exciting, and it was kind of like a nervous thing, but it was like it was an adventure, and so Keith kind of like viewed it as an adventure. Where other guys are like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to pull that back. You know what I mean? It's just a different mentality.
Kind of like what just happened in the parking lot earlier.
Yes.
It's like a heist.
A heist.
Almost hit a car.
A man without a door. Okay, point 5. Justin, could you read point 5?
Whether someone is the right person has more to do with character traits, and innate capabilities than with specific knowledge, background, or skills.
Okay, so what's that saying? I just want to ask you this. If you're a guy who everywhere you go, you're not experiencing success, is there a potential that follows you? Is there a potential, too, if you're a guy where everywhere you go you're successful, is it a potential that follows you, too? You know what I'm saying? And what I'm getting at is that, like, there's some guys, they go into the weight room, they tear it up, they're awesome. They go play a sport, they tear it up, they're awesome. They go work at an office, they tear it up, they're awesome.
So-
They go to church, they tear it. You know,